like to move. Okay, now is the time for some question and answer. So I've got a few questions in the chat box. I'll just open the chat box now. So the first question asked was by Vivish. He asked while I think Robin was going through the data of the house price. Vivish asked the question, where are the data from? So can either Jitto or Kushal answer that, please? Thank you.
So there are two main sources for data. For any data, there are two main sources. One is the national statistic. So you can just go into the national statistic. I think it is ONS, Organization of National Statistics. So you can go on that website and most of the data is available in the public domain. Now, there is also a website which is built by data experts known as statistics website. You have to take a membership in that website, and once you take that membership, you can access more specialized data, particularly to any industry you want. So it's not just property, any industry you need. So those are the two places. One is absolutely in public domain, the National Statistic website, and all those data are published on a regular interval. So weekly, monthly, some data are daily, some data is yearly. So those data are available. And then the other one is statistics. Now the particular Halifax index, so that is also open public domain. It is available. So you can just look for Halifax property index, which gets published every month. And if you are listening to BBC Breakfast News, the morning 6 o'clock BBC Breakfast News, whenever there is something like Halifax publishes their monthly kind of house pricing and things like that, BBC is very good picking up on that breakfast news. They will just say a 60-second or a 30-second just to say that, oh, this report is out there. The Halifax property index for the month of August, month of September, this is what it is saying. They just might say a few lines in the BBC News. So if you are listening to the 6 a.m. BBC Breakfast News, you can't miss that. They will definitely inflation rate for the month and the property price. These are the two things BBC will never miss. They will capture that in the 6 a.m. news. But apart from that, these are the two sources from where we get all this data. Yeah, so no secrets there.
Thank you, Jitto. The second question was asked by Jilu. House price to rent ratio, where is it from?
So I think I've answered it. So it's the same data source. I have extracted that from statistics. So that's where it will give you from, if you go 100 years back, the house prices, the ratio was 120, and day by day it is increasing. So house prices are like against your average UK income, which is around 27,000, the house prices are kind of multiple effect. So it used to be 120, 110 times. And now it's still at the gap is increasing day by day. So those data are available on a monthly basis on the statistics and on the national statistic website as well. Yeah.
Okay, those were the two questions in the chat box, but if anyone wants to ask any question, you're most welcome. Oh, there's one question from Jitu Jadhav. How different would the scene be in Ireland compared to UK? Can the same be applied here?
Now for Ireland, are you part of Republic Ireland or Northern Ireland? That's the first question. If you are part of the Republican Ireland, then definitely property is a very good investment opportunity. But again, when you're investing in Republic Ireland or Northern Ireland to that extent also, it depends where you're investing, the location, the place, the demand in that area. All those factors comes into the picture. And more importantly, what strategy does the local authorities allow you to maximize your profit? So just buying an ordinary house and like investing, that's one way of doing it, but that will take a long term to get returns on that. But if you can find out what are the property strategies which is being taken, which the authorities allow you to do it. So for example, we mentioned about Coventry, wherein a 2-bedroom house was converted into a 5-bedroom. So the authorities allow us to do that. Yeah? And if they don't allow us, we can't do it. So there are certain places in UK also, in England and Wales and Scotland and in Ireland, where the local authorities will not allow you to do that. There is special planning permissions, and that also is very hard to get. Those kind of restrictions are there. But I will invite Kushal also to add on that regarding Ireland and Republic of Ireland. Kushal?
Yeah, thank you, Jitu. So I'll say, Jitu, you have asked this question, and I know you're based in Republic of Ireland. So what I'll say is there is a very simple thing which you can do. You just need to calculate the return on investment. You need to find the property. You need to calculate, like if you are buying a 100K property, then usually you need to put 25% deposit. So that's around £25,000. So you need to calculate, like I'm putting this £25,000. What is the rent? What is the return on investment I am going to get? And if I'm putting this £25,000, how long will it take for me to get this £25,000 back and have that asset for a lifetime, which will be giving me passive income? So that's what you need to understand. Return on investment is the basic concept. Whenever you need to buy something and buy a good asset, you need to take that into consideration. And then, as Jito said, you need to look into local regulations as well. Like if you can buy a property and convert it into multiple let property, where you can maybe expand your income. Rather than getting income from a single family, you are now getting income from a multiple family, by which you are getting more rent rather than single rent. So that's where your return on investment is increasing. So that's where your property which you have bought is a good property, good asset which you have bought. So that's all things which you need to think about when you are buying the property. And I think that will come. You just need to be active. You need to reach out as you are doing to find out the answers to your questions, and definitely you'll be there.
And what we can do is we can invite an expert from Republic of Ireland from our network who can come and share a lot more insight. So we will arrange one session at some point wherein we can invite experts from that industry who are doing that part of the world, who are doing really great there in properties, might be having a decade or 2 decades of experience, and watch the space. We can do that for you guys. Thank you.
Also, Jitu, you are asking where can you find the information about the rules and regulations. So for us, I can comment about UK. You just go to like specific council. So there are council website where there is a specific part of housing regulations. So that housing regulations, you need to go there, or you can just pick up the phone and call council peoples, or what all things I can do. Can I do multi-let in this property? Can I do service accommodation in this property? And they should be able to help you out. So just go reach out to your local council and you should be able to get that information.
Hi team, this is Jitendra. I would like to ask one quick question. I'm asking it, I think you guys might have already have the answer, or it's planned to be covered into the future session. I think the session was really good. Thank you very much, firstly. What I want to ask is, we have talked a lot about investment, return on investment, market research and everything. What I'm also interested to know is, how is the post we purchase, convert into HMO or buy a buy-to-let property? How are we going to ensure the continuity of the tenant or professional renting through the property, and how is that going to be managed in terms of taxation point of view? I think this might be already you guys have, or it might be planned for the next session. You can, if that is the plan, then you can keep it for next sessions. And if there is something brief you can talk about now, I'm okay with either way.
So Jito, you want to take, or should
I? So you covered a few things there. Like at the end, you mentioned about tax. So definitely we will have an accountant who will be coming on one of our sessions, and because we are not an accountant by profession, so we can't give you advice on tax, but we will have an accountant from our power team who will be coming and doing an exclusive session which will cover the taxation and all aspects of property taxation. So you will see, like, watch the space, you will see an accountant and sharing all those knowledge. But previous to that, you mentioned about letting the property, like making sure that we have the tenants all the time. So for that, we will have both the estate agent and the letting agent experts coming on our sessions, and you will have an opportunity to hear directly from them. So how they have a list of people already waiting for a property. Yeah, they have a database of people already waiting for the property. So hotspot areas, there is always a waiting list. People are actually waiting for when this house will empty and we can move in. So letting agents are professionally doing that, so they will give you the solution for that. And that's the reason having a power team is very important. Having a network of people who can help you, guide you, and make your life easy. The things which you think it is impossible, they can just do it because they do it day in, day out. Yeah. And then you mentioned about like converting the houses into HMO and so on. What's the step-by-step process? Yes, definitely. So in our property network, in our power team, there are people who have done not just a few HMOs like baby steps, but there are some people who've been doing this for decades, and they have seen all kind of complications. We have already seen a lot of complication in our last 2-3 years, but they have seen more complex situations than us. So we will have those experts coming and sharing the step-by-step process of HMO. Now, you also need to understand that these sessions are limited by time, 1 hour, 2 hour sessions. So experts who are coming, they won't be able to share everything A to Z, but we will try to maximize as much we can. And rest, we will try to cover in form of YouTube videos. So make sure you guys well connected with our social media on YouTube, so that you don't miss those videos. We will cover bit by bit, step by step, every single aspect of those journey. Kushal, if you want to add something to that.
No, I think you covered it well, Jito. So with regards to lettings, we always make sure that once we are developing the property, we have our letting agent waiting on the side, so they can market the property while we are developing the property. So we have like list of tenant already waiting for us to take the property. So that's how we do. And we always have like mitigations. If we are not able to find that, what are we going to do? So we have like multiple exits in line. So that's where we are not like sitting on a property. We will have some cash flow coming from the property. And then with regards to tax, I think we are not allowed to talk about tax, because it's definitely like accountants should share more about tax. And as Jito mentioned, like we are going to invite experts from our power team who will be able to share more insight about tax. So maybe when you will have those experts coming in through different sessions, you can ask those questions then.
Thank you. Thank you, Kushal and Jito. And as my start itself, I think it's already planned. I think I asked it quite early in curiosity. Thank you.
No problem. Any questions are good. That's how you learn.
And also just want to mention, guys, if we cannot answer your question here due to time limit, and also from the experts you could not hear because of the time limit, then we have other platforms as well. We are going to share with you for this. We will have the Facebook and everything, so your questions will get answered. So don't worry, just keep your questions coming in, and we are here.
Over to you, Suja.
Yeah, I think Aarti had asked a question. It was when you were answering for Jitu. Aarti, do you want to ask your question again, please?
Yeah. So my question is where to find below market properties?
Yeah, Aarti. So
Like online,
am I on mute? Yeah, no. Hi, Aarti. Thank you for your question. So this is really an interesting question, and everybody wants such kind of property where you can make that kind of 5%, 10% property profit when you're purchasing the property. So below market value property is just a phase, but you need to find out like what the seller wants, and then you need to give it to them. If like seller is in urgency, then you can offer below market value offer to him. And if like what we found, like when we were in the market, like when we are purchasing property, seller is in urgency or need when there is some problems which he is facing, like he has some issues with the property and he needs to sell the property quickly, then he can accept like below market value offer. Or like say suppose he's in a chain or something, and he is the person who's going to buy the property has pulled out. Now he is in a situation where he needs to sell the property fast, then in that situation as well, you can put a below market value offer and you might get accepted. There are other ways as well, like approaching direct to vendors, like doing letter campaigns and things like that, where you can get below market value offers as well. But it's just being active in the market, going for those viewings, putting the offers in, understanding the situations of the seller, what they want, and just giving it to them, and just being active and just putting offer, not like having a specific property which you have in the mind. It's not about like, now you're investing, you're not buying something for yourself. So you don't need to buy by emotions. You need to think about like investment. If you're not getting that property, that's fine. You're going to go and put an offer on another property until you get that 5%, 10% profit, like margin, which you are expecting for. So you just need to keep going and put those offer in, and you will get that below market value.
Thank you, Kushal. Thanks.
Okay, Jilu has asked any books that you recommend to read. We would have more books being recommended on our further sessions. I think one book Jito had already recommended.
So the cash
It was cash flow quadrant by cash flow quadrant by Kioski.
And before you read the cash flow quadrant, I will highly recommend to read Rich Dad Poor Dad. That was his first book, Robert Kioski's first book, which was published, I think around 1997. Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's the first book I will recommend. It's been a real inspiration and some really practical advice from his own life experience. So that's the first book I would recommend. And once you finish reading that book, the next one I will say that go on Cash Flow Quadrant. There are so many other books, but those two books will be a good beginning point when it comes to kind of starting. It will shape your mindset. That's very important. Once you have the mindset, then you can build your technical expertise. But first you have to have that mindset. First you have to understand this game of property investment.
Okay, thank you, Jito. Hari, do you want to ask your question now?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So I just wanted to ask, like, do I need to open a limited company if I need to basically get into this investment business? Because currently I'm just working for a company. And also because I bought a house last year, the interest rate, if I go for a second mortgage, the interest rate will be higher, or they will be lower from that perspective. Thank you.
Should I take it, Jito?
Yeah. So Hari, there are two questions to your to what you have said. So first one is about limited company. Now, officially, we cannot give you advice because your personal circumstance has to be understood by a proper accountant who can give you an advice. But from a general domain point of view, from a taxation point of view, it's always efficient to have a company set up and buy property via the company, because it gives you a more wider tax options when you're operating from a company. But your individual circumstance has to be discussed with an accountant, and then you can take a right advice. Okay, that's the first bit. Now, the properties what I have brought, apart from my personal residential property, all my properties are brought under a company. Not under a company, under multiple companies. Okay. Right. So that's a very common practice in the property sector, especially after the Section 24 was introduced. Okay. So those are you will hear from the experts who will explain more about Section 24. If you go on our YouTube channel, there is a video on Section 24, but we will have experts who will be discussing more in detail Section 24 tax implications and how you can overcome those tax implications in the form of different vehicles. And one of the vehicle is having a company. Okay. The second part of your question was about interest rates. So you already brought a residential property, and residential properties have one of the lowest interest rates in UK. In fact, recently, last couple of days, again, the interest rates have dropped because banks are loaded with money. They want the money to shelf out. And for the economy to go in, we need sales of properties happening because it's a huge contribution to the GDP. So interest rates are definitely very competitive when it comes to residential mortgages. When it comes to buy-to-let mortgages or commercial mortgages or investment properties, the interest rates are slightly higher. Okay. And when you're buying under the company, it will be slightly higher, but still very competitive in today's market. Because if you speak to a property investor who's been investing for last 10, 20, 30 years, they have done investments at the rate of 15, 16, 12%. Like my mentors have invested at the rate of 8, 9, 10% in UK. Yeah.
Oh.
Compared to that, my property investments, the highest interest I have paid, I think it is 3.5.
Okay.
And the lowest I have paid around 2.7, 2.8. Yeah. So it depends on what kind of lender, what kind of broker you are working with.
Yeah.
In fact, next session, what we have on 20th of October, we have Sharin Patel, who's coming. He's been into mortgage and lending business for more than a decade. So he will be someone you should look forward to meet.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Hari, for that question.
Okay, over to our next question. That's from Amit. Is it necessary to have citizenship of UK to invest in UK?
So yeah, go ahead, Kushal.
Yeah, so Amit, I'll say like there are different ways where you can, if you are interested in investing in UK, there are different ways where you can actually invest in UK. But like I'll say, like if you want to buy a property straight away on your name, so that is a little bit complicated, and you need to show that you are investing into UK, and there is specific amount, which is a fairly large bit of amount which you need to invest. Then only you are allowed to buy straight away from India to UK. But what I have seen, what investors do, they set up a joint venture company, and where they can purchase a property on a company's name, where the investor is also in India, but they also have a share of property by purchasing it in a vehicle, which is a limited company vehicle. So the answer is yes, you can invest in UK. You don't need a citizenship, but you need a partner.
Thank you, Kushal. Next question is from Sudhir. How can one budget the refurbished cost correctly? So
Sudhir, you cannot always budget the refurbished cost correctly. You need to have some contingencies always kept aside when you are calculating the refurb budget. How we do is like we call like 3 builders who we have got like recommendations from our power team network. We invite them to come and give us the quote on the refurb which we are doing. And then we decide, like not always the builder who gives you the like less quote is a good builder. So you need to check the work which they have done, maybe visit their projects which they have done, and then you need to make your own decision after checking all those things. But yeah, you need to always have that contingency, because especially in today's market when the price of build work is going up and up. So you need to have that contingency always. You can't have an exact refurb amount.
Okay, thank you, Kushal. Anyone else who wants to ask any questions?
Yeah, can I?
Yes.
So this is going back to the last question with respect to the visa and citizenship. So I want to talk particularly about like maybe other people like me. So I'm on ICT tier 2 work visa. So I shifted 2 years back. So just wanted to know, like, am I eligible until I get, my ILR? So is that the time I need to wait, or how it works out?
So ICT is an intercompany transfer visa. So yeah. It's normally for kind of, you can maximum stay here for 5 years. That's right. My understanding. Yeah. So during this 5 years, if you have any family member who's a dependent on your visa, so they have a little bit more flexibility to invest into property. Because like under ICT, you should not be doing any other activity apart from the purpose you have come to this country, which is your company has sent you for a purpose. And they kind of, so there are certain criteria and restrictions. But yes, if you have family members along with you who are 18 and above, your wife, your children, and they have a little bit more flexibility and vehicles to invest.
Okay.
Alternatively, definitely, as Kushal also mentioned, if someone is investing from India, they can still invest as a kind of joint venture options. So those options can explode. It does not matter that you're on ICT, or joint venture options can explode, because it will be a company buying a company, like company buying a property and company buying a company. Those kind of setups are there, which can be used very efficiently. There are accountants who are experts in doing that, and they can kind of help you with that.
Okay, so if I want to go more into these details, I know we are out of time. So what is the way, how should I connect with you guys and get, more one-to-one discussion, or maybe,
Yes, yeah, we can. First of all, we will be having sessions wherein we'll have accountants who will come and do a complete session, and they will also take Q&A, question answer sessions, where you can, apart from that, on a one-to-one basis also, you can connect to any of our core team members on Project Possible, and then we will connect you with our power team who can help you on this journey.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Anyone else has any questions? I think Shraddha has a question. Is interest only or repayment mortgages best for buy to let?
Hi, Shraddha. Thank you for your question. So what we tend to do is we always go for interest only mortgage for our buy to let, like the properties which we buy as an investment. The reason for that is you only pay interest. If you are paying a repayment, then you are paying a higher value. So what we want from our investment is getting more cash flow, and to achieve more cash flow, we are going to do only interest only mortgage. That's where the amount which we are going to receive monthly is going to be more. And because the inflation rate in UK is increasing, property prices are increasing as well. So you will be in a situation where the property prices will be high, and the mortgage which you have taken is less. So at that time, maybe you can remortgage, or you will have some savings you go through different properties, and then you can put it in that property. So that's where the loan to value amount will also be reduced. But how we do is always interest only mortgage.
Yeah. And just to mention here, mortgage advisors are trained and they are specialized where they can give you advice. So they will give you all the advices, like if you are doing a repayment, what happens, how much will your monthly outcome, like how long you have to pay. Similarly, with interest only, they will give you entire information, how it all works. So mortgage advisors have a very important role to explain both scenarios and how it works. But from an investor's point of view, I think Kushal has already covered why and how it works. But you have to kind of take your mortgage advisor's advice before you make those decisions, because it is very personal to you as a person. So mortgage advisor will go into your financial circumstance and things like that, and they will discuss and then they will give you what option best fits you. But yes, end of the day, it is your decision what you want to do. And from an investor's point of view, Kushal has already explained what most of the investors do. Yeah.
Okay, sorry guys, due to time constraints, if there's any more questions, you can always connect to us through our Facebook page and also on the YouTube link.
Also, we have a registered email ID, that's projectpossible2021@gmail.com, which is already be a part of one of the emails that you're receiving daily basis. You can put